Till we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys had a great holiday and a happy new year. Today I wanted to do my sit down labor and delivery story. So I'm going to tell you guys everything that happened during my labor and during my delivery, how my contractions started all the way to the very last thing of pushing them out. So I'm just going to tell you guys everything and give you guys all the tea right now. If you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions about postpartum, because I'm going to do that in the next video. I'm also going to put a Q&A box on Instagram with questions about it. So any questions you have about postpartum, leave them below. Like, comment, share this video with your friends, and yeah, without further ado, I'm going to get into my labor and delivery story. Okay, so sorry if the lighting gets like crazy throughout this video. I'm trying to make this work with natural lighting. My ring light is not working and the sun is not being so good, so just hang in there. Okay, so on August 11th around 11 p.m. I started to get like back cramps, not back cramps, like gas pains. That's like the way to explain it. That's what I was looking for, gas pains. And I wasn't sure, you know, if it was from dinner or, you know, like I was just super pregnant, so I was just like, you know, it probably is just from dinner, you know, something that goes with heartburn. I was just having gas, whatever. I wasn't having like period cramps, but the gas pains, whatever. So I go to bed and I wake up probably around like 6:30 in the morning. Throughout the night I was waking up, but that's how I normally was, to go to the bathroom to pee like 5 or 6 times a night anyways. So that was normal and I had the gas throughout the night. So around 6:30 I woke up and like it was definitely getting more intense, these like gas pains, and I didn't know what they were, and I was just like, what is this? Are these contractions? Like, what is going on? Obviously I've never had a baby, so I've never been in labor, so I had no idea what to expect, and like I didn't know, like, are these contractions or are these gas pains? Like, I had no idea. So at 7 in the morning I called my Aunt Martha, and she's basically like, you know, like my mom, and I called her and I was like, listen, like, what the heck? Like, I don't know if I'm in labor, I don't know if I'm having these contractions, like I'm having gas pains, but I don't know if they're gas pains. I don't want to go to the hospital and look silly. And trust me guys, I know that so many people go to the hospital thinking they're in labor and it's not a big deal, but like I just think even for myself, I was so excited that I didn't want to go and be told like, no, this isn't it, so whatever. So I was on the phone, and then finally she was like, call your doctor, like call your doctor right now, talk to her, call me back. And I was like, okay. So now it's probably like 7:30 and I called my doctor, and at this point they weren't painful, but they definitely were getting more intense to where I could talk during them, but I was kind of like losing my breath. I kind of was like, I was talking kind of like out of breath, and that's when my doctor was like, no, Tiffany, like these are contractions, trust me, these are contractions. I want you to walk around your block. Walk around your block, walk as much as you can, and keep it moving and call me back. She's like, because they're gonna get more intense as you walk, and that's good because you're gonna progress your labor. And I was like, okay. So finally, you know, Christian and I, we went around the block with the dogs and stuff. I was trying to walk as much as I could. They definitely were getting more intense, and yeah, but keep in mind I was not having any like front contractions. I was having only in the back. So like I said, my lower back was having these pains, like gas pains. That's like the only way I can explain them. I was not having any like cramps. I think maybe very slight cramps here and there, but I was having consistent like back pains, lower back pains, which I was saying were gas pains. Now I know they were contractions. So keep that in mind. They could be in the front like period cramps, getting worse and more intense, or they could be like in the back. I had no idea you could have back contractions. That's pretty much all I had was lower back contractions, whatever. So went around the block, we came back, I called my doctor, they're getting more intense. She was like, okay, definitely sounds like you need to go to the hospital. At this point it's like 8 in the morning. She's like, but labor at home for as long as you can. So keep walking around the block, you know, if you want to shower, you know, if you want to get ready at all, if you want to pack your bag, you know, do everything that you want to do it now. And she was like, remember, once you get to the hospital, you can't eat, you can't walk around, so, you know, do the most you can at home. If you want to take a bath, whatever, like, do whatever you can home while you can. And so I was like, okay. So I took a shower, you know, I straightened my hair, did my makeup, I cleaned the house. My contractions were getting a little bit more intense, but it was nothing crazy, very bearable. You know, I could stand during them. I was able to do my makeup and hair and all that crap during it. But they were getting more intense, and yeah, they just were getting more intense, but not painful. Just like, I was still so in denial, and I wasn't sure if there were gas pains, and I was so just like worried. But we had everything packed, and finally we got on the road to go to the hospital, and it was probably like 11:30. I was so hungry, so we stopped at Wendy's. I really wanted Wendy's, just like fries. I think I had fries and a Frosty, something like simple and quick and small, but I just wanted something. So we got that, and then we went to Target because I wanted to do more walking, and Christian needed some more snacks for the hospital stay. So I was like, perfect, let's go to Target, you know, my favorite place ever, and I will walk the most that I can, and we'll get snacks, whatever. Once we got to Target, like, I was like, I need to get to the hospital, because they were getting really intense. Like, still not painful, but like super uncomfortable and super intense, and like, ugh. So yeah, I definitely knew that at this point they were getting more intense, and that something was happening, and I need to go to the hospital. So finally we got to the hospital, checked in, and they brought us to this, I don't know, this little like curtain room where they were going to track my contractions for an hour before admitting me. So I was like, okay, you know, I was tracking my own contractions, so I was like, I know for sure that she's gonna come back and be like, yes, you're having contractions like every 3 minutes, every 4 minutes, and we're gonna admit you. Like, I knew for sure. But we were in the room for an hour. I was literally having them every 3 minutes, so intense, so painful. I could not talk during them. I could barely like breathe during them. At this point, it was getting a little bit painful. I wouldn't say unbearable. I wasn't screaming in pain. It wasn't crazy, but I definitely had to like kind of like bite my jaw and be like, oh, because they're, at this point, I would equate them to like bad period cramps. It was just uncomfortable, and it was, yeah, it was just not good, like bad period cramps. Whatever. So she comes back in after an hour, the nurse, and she's like, you know, I'm one who doesn't say anything about people, you know, acting anyway, but she was like very rude. And so whatever, she came in and she was like, you're not having contractions close enough, so we're gonna send you home, whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, really? Like, I could have sworn I was having them like every 2 minutes. I keep getting this pain every 2 minutes, or every whatever. I think it was every 3 or 4 minutes. At this point, not 2 minutes, like 3 or 4. And you know, I was just like, oh, you know, I don't know what this is. And she literally was like, sweetie, you can have contractions till the cows come home. Go home, take a bath, I don't care what you do, but you cannot be admitted into this hospital until your contractions are closer together. And I was like, okay. So instantly I looked at Christian, and I was like so heartbroken. You know, I was like so excited to just like have this baby, you know, go into the room, get everything ready and going, and I just felt like so crushed. So she was like, I'm gonna go call your doctor, let her know. And I was like, okay, you know, whatever. So she walked out, and then, you know, Christian and I were just sitting there, and I was kind of like, I told you, whatever. And finally she comes back in with a COVID test, which obviously they're not gonna give you a COVID test if you're leaving. So she puts the COVID test on my thing, like on the little counter, and I was like, and she walks out, and Christian's like, what the heck? And then she comes back in with like the needles for IVs and stuff like that, and tape and stuff. And I was like, and she still hasn't said anything. She's just bringing this stuff in, and we were like, how weird. And then finally she comes in, and you could tell she had such an attitude. Ugh. And she was like, your doctor wants me to admit you. She said that your contractions are close enough. And I was like, ugh. I knew it though. I knew that my doctor was going to say that, because I was having them close together, and I knew that I was in labor, and my doctor 100% knew too. And as soon as I got up to my actual delivery floor, the nurses were like, oh my god, girl, like, you're like really progressed. And I was like, they almost sent me home. And she was like, no girl, like you would have come back in like 20 minutes, like you are ready. And I was like, thank gosh. So I'm just happy that my doctor was able to listen to me and like understand what was actually happening, and was able, you know, to admit me versus just say go home, you know. So that's the big thing I would say, is make sure you have a doctor, an OBGYN who you trust and who listens to you and like, you know, really is there for you, because my doctor was the absolute best, and I absolutely love her. So yeah, so then finally, now we go up to the room, we're admitted, we're in the delivery room, and yeah, it's probably like at this point, I think three or four, and it had definitely been a few hours between getting checked in, because getting checked in before we were taken into that one room to time my contractions, that was like insurance, we had to do billing, all this paperwork, whatever, so everything was definitely kind of like taking a while, but whatever. We finally got settled in, and it was probably around 4 p.m. and that was it. We had signed all the paperwork and we were sitting, and that's when they were like, okay, you know, like now it's a waiting game. And I was like, okay. So my doctor came in probably around 4:30, and she was like, came in, she checked me. I think I was 5 centimeters dilated, and I was like 80% effaced. Like she was like, he is right here, his head's right there, and you know, you're pretty dilated and you're gonna keep dilating and we're gonna have this baby soon. And I was like, great, you know. So she was like, the nurses are gonna keep me updated the whole day, you know. I'm saying that the baby's gonna come, it would either be probably like 3 in the morning or tomorrow morning, but she was like, tomorrow early in the morning. She was like, that's what I think. And I was like, okay. So whatever, she leaves, and you know, that was pretty much it. It was just Christian and I sitting there, you know, like watching Grey's Anatomy, watching New Girl, trying to sleep, just like relaxing. I couldn't eat, you know, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. So that was pretty much it. Around, honestly, I don't remember what time, but you know, not that long after, they came in and they said, your doctor gave us the script for an epidural. So hold on, I have something under me. The doctor gave us the script for an epidural for you. Do you want it? Da, da, da. And I said yes. So this is where like I was a little concerned, because they came in and they told me like, okay, your husband has to leave, because they said this procedure is too intense for husbands to watch. And I was like, this procedure is too intense? So like all the words they used, just everything they were saying got me so anxious and so nervous. And Christian ends up leaving, a few doctors come in. It was like so crazy, because they come in with so many trays, so many, like all these tools, all, like different types of equipment, and they're in like these like surgical outfits. They have their hair wrapped up, like the little things on their shoes, everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? Like I feel like I'm going into surgery. I did not think it was so serious. But honestly, it ended up being okay. Wasn't that big of a deal. It was definitely like intense. And when they put the needle in my back, I felt pressure. And I think a lot of people say that. They encourage you to take a deep breath. That helps, you know, the needle glide in. When they tell you to take a deep breath, don't take a half-ass like deep breath. Take like a big deep breath. Like literally, you will thank me later. Like I swear you will think of me. Like take that deep breath when the doctor tells you that, like they're gonna tell you to take the deep breath. You're gonna like, you're leaning over, hugging a pillow or hugging whatever they give you, and you have to be like hunched over, and she's gonna tell you, or he's gonna tell you, take a deep breath. And I took a half-assed deep breath first, and not that things went bad, but instantly my doctor was like, she felt the needle stop sliding in, and she was like, you need to take a deep breath. And instantly I went and took one more crazy deep breath, and it went in perfectly. And then that's when I just felt a bunch of pressure and kind of like heat on my back, and that was it. So I would do another epidural. Wasn't anything so crazy, but take that deep breath. So after that, I had to lay flat, and all the doctors had to stay with me. I had to lay flat on the bed. They like lifted my bed and I had to lay completely flat. I guess that's so the medicine, the epidural, like, you know, like evenly distributes throughout your whole body. And you know, my feet, I think, were the first things that started to get really heavy. They were also like hot, and then they got cold. And but when I mean numb, I mean like I went numb. I could not lift my legs for absolutely anything I could not lift my legs for. So that was a funny feeling. But as soon as I got that epidural and it kicked in, it probably kicked in within like 25 minutes, maybe even less. Prime. I mean, that was amazing. I will always do an epidural. I mean, thank gosh mine worked. I know for some people it doesn't go as smoothly. I'm very grateful mine did. And yeah, it was amazing. I truly applaud people who do deliveries natural, because I don't even think I ever felt my really intense contractions at this point, and I was just so grateful for this epidural. I could not feel anything, and it was amazing. So that's pretty much like the beginning of the story. So now it's, I want to say it's probably like 7 p.m. and from then until 4 in the morning, nothing happened. Nothing happened. The only thing, I mean, what was going on was I was laying in bed. I couldn't really sleep. I was feeling no pain, so I felt great. I was just like uncomfortable. Honestly, the catheter, they give you a catheter when you have the epidural, that was a little bit uncomfortable. It did not hurt, and it did not hurt being put in or taken out, but it just felt like uncomfortable. I knew that it was there, and it felt just like weird. I couldn't get over the fact that it was there, so that was just annoying. But I was laying in bed just watching TV and like Netflix on my laptop, and they give you a donut pillow to like lay on your side and put in between your legs, and they come in like every 45 minutes, I think, to an hour, just to flip you on different sides and like different positions, and that just keeps your dilation going. And then every so often they check you, and yeah. So I was dilating from, like I said, 7 to like I said, 4 in the morning. Around 4 in the morning, maybe 5, all of a sudden I was like laying on my side. I was trying to fall asleep, and I felt like a jolt, like my whole body like jolted, like crazy jolted, and I felt like a burst. Like that is the only way I can explain it, as like a burst. Kind of like almost like a shock of like electricity like went through my body. Like I was in bed and I remember like jumping, like what the heck. And that's when I felt all this liquid and water in between my legs, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think my water just broke. So I called my nurse. Christian was asleep, the room was pitch black. I called the nurse and I was like, hi, like I think my water just broke, like are you able to come check me? And she was like, yes, like I'm coming, da da da. So she came and she was like, she checked me and she was like, yeah, it broke and you're at 9 centimeters. So she was like, I'm gonna call your doctor because like, girl, like you are close, you're about to have this baby. And I was like, oh my god. So at this point I was like, okay, like what's going to happen now? But here's where it gets a little bit intense. She calls my doctor, and my doctor says, okay, well she still has probably like 2 or 3 hours, so I'm not coming yet. Keep checking her every 45 minutes to, you know, like I don't know how often it was, and let me know and keep me updated, and then I'll come. Whatever. So now, like I said, it's probably like 5:30, and my water broke probably like 25 minutes ago, and my epidural wore off quick, and my contractions got so bad. I mean, so bad. And I've always heard once your water breaks, your contractions get bad, like, and they get so intense, and that's when, like, you know, like labor is like at its like peak. But I was like, I have an epidural, like, and it's working great. I haven't felt any pain, so whatever. It was like horrible, and I'm not one to like scream in my hospital room and like make a scene, you know, even though I had every right to. But I was like, oh, like losing my mind. Like I was trying my best not to be that crazy person screaming, but I think I was. And I was like crying, looking at Christian's eyes, like begging him, like, let's go home, like, take me home, I don't want this baby. I don't know why I thought that leaving the hospital was gonna like get rid of my baby and like make this pain go away and like make this none of that happen. But I was like going crazy, like, and this pain got so bad. It literally was consistent every 2 minutes, and it was like truly like a knife, like stabbing and twisting, and like, I don't want to scare you guys, but it was rough. Would I do it again? Yes. Did it like scare me and completely traumatize me? No. But in the moment, it was rough. It was rough. It was definitely one of the more painful things I have ever, I would say, felt. I know that sounds very intense, but I am a little bit of a baby when it comes to pain and, you know, like just situations like that. And if I'm able to say, you know, I'll do it again, and, you know, it was rough, but, you know, then you can do it, trust me. Or don't be scared. But it got rough. It really did for a little bit. And finally they had the anesthesiologist, I always mess up that word. She came back in, and first they had me like press, they have a little button that administers doses of the epidural like continuously. So they had me do that for another like 40 minutes until I was like, hey, like it is not working, like it is not working. And so she came back in and she was like, I'm gonna give you another like dose of something. And she was like, this is what we give to people who have C-sections. And I was like, and she was like, I'm not, like, she was like, I don't even know if I should give this to you because like you're gonna go into labor soon and you're supposed to feel like the pushing. And I was like, I need something, like I need something. So she gave me pretty much a very, very, very small dose of what they give to C-section people, just because, or just to kind of like overpower and give me some relief from that pain. So that worked tremendously, and I was back to not feeling anything. The only thing, or the only problem, was that my legs went completely numb again and I could not lift them on my own. So now it's probably like 6:15, and you know, I go to sleep. I'm completely relaxed. I'm not in pain anymore. And yeah, you know, I'm at 9 centimeters. I'm, you know, just waiting for them to say start pushing, and that's it. So I fall asleep. It's like 6:15 in the morning, and now I've been in labor like, you know, a long time, a lot of hours. And around 7, my doctor comes in. I think it's like 6:50. My doctor comes in like dressed like normal, and she's like, hey, like what's up? And I was like, hey. She's like, how do you feel? And I was like, good. She's like, ready to start pushing? You gonna have a baby? And I was like, yeah, like I do. And she's like, let's do this. And I was like, right now? And she sat on the foot of my bed and she was like, right now, pick your legs up. And I was like, well, I can't pick my legs up, like they're completely numb. And she was like, well, like we still have to push, and so, you know, like Christian's gonna hold a leg and Nurse is gonna hold a leg, and you know, we're gonna do this. And I was like, okay. So they were both on either side of me, Christian and my nurse, and I just started pushing. Like I said, now it's probably like 7 o'clock now, and I start pushing, and you know, you push for 10 seconds 3 times every contraction. So a contraction comes, you push for 10 seconds, stop, push for 10 seconds, stop, push for 10 seconds, and then you take a breather break. Thankfully, I was so numb, I didn't feel so much pain. But what I can say is that it made me absolutely exhausted. I'm also a big ice and water drinker. Like when I'm exhausted like that, I need to drink ice and water, and you can't have anything like that. So that took a huge toll on me because I was pushing and I was running out of stamina. I didn't have any endurance. I felt like I was literally going to pass out. The only thing they could give me was ice chips, and I mean, I was like sucking those down because I just needed like liquid. I needed water. That was hard. And I pushed for an hour, so, or I pushed for 44 minutes basically. So I probably started pushing around 6:55, and Noah was born at 7:44. So, you know, I pushed for a little less than an hour, but no more than an hour, pretty much an hour. And yeah, so very exhausting, but pretty good. Right when he started to come out, she told me, okay, he's right there, he's right there, he's right there. And I was like, okay. And she said his head had popped out, but she said his shoulders are like big, and she was like, he looks like a big baby, like I see these big linebacker shoulders. And I was like, oh. And she was like, this baby's about to come out. but I need to cut you. And I was like, and she was like, if I don't do this, you're gonna tear all the way down to your butt. And she was like, you don't want that. And I was like, no. And she was like, but I can do a little cut like diagonally to the side, and that'll open you up enough for him to just slide out, and I'll stitch you back up. It won't be a tear, it won't be a bad cut, you'll heal perfectly, whatever. And of course in the moment I was just like, absolutely do anything. And she did it, and the sound wasn't pleasant. It was definitely like not a very good sound to listen to, but I didn't feel anything, and it was quick. And yeah, I did one more push and he came out perfectly. And at that point everything is a blur and you don't really care about absolutely anything that's going on. And yeah, so he came out and he was crying, and they put him on me, and it was great. And after a few minutes of doing skin to skin, they took him. Christian went over to like the side of the room that they had the little nursery setup situation to weigh him and stuff. Christian was over there, and my doctor started to sew me back up. That was weird because I could see her in front of me, like, you know, I had my legs open, so I was looking in front of my legs, and she was sitting there like stitching me like if someone's sewing like a sweater. Like I could see the thread, like, and I was like, ah. So I really needed to, I felt like I would have been in pain if I was in my head about it. I had to like focus on like, okay, like I just had a baby, like there's my baby, like focus on that, focus on this moment, like, because if I was like looking at my doctor like, and I knew I was going to like start feeling pain and start like freaking out, so I just couldn't get in my head about it. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much like, I would say like my labor and my delivery. And overall, like, definitely some painful parts and definitely some like rough experiences during it, but overall, like, I was proud. Like I felt like I did it. I was like, wow, like that wasn't so bad. Like I can do this again. Like I can do this. I'm not scared for next time. I got this. I would definitely say my experience was a positive one, and I am someone who was so anxious. I mean, like, I would like cry to Christian during my pregnancy, like sometimes when I was like really hormonal and emotional, and I would be like, I cannot do this. Like I don't think I can have this baby. Like I'm scared. Like I don't know if I can push him out. What if it hurts too bad? What if I can't? Like I would get so in my head about it, and I overthought it completely, and it was not a scary experience at all. Like I said, there were some painful things, but you know, like everything was truly just good, and the outcome obviously was amazing. So I 100% would do it over and over and over again if I needed to, for my little baby and for all my babies. So yeah, it really wasn't a bad experience, guys. I would say my situation, I've heard, is kind of like the norm. I wouldn't say the norm, but most moms, no matter their situation, I've heard them be like, it was okay though. At the end of the day, everything that happened, it happened, and I was okay. Like, and I think that's like what you need to like know and like get out of like labor and delivery stories. It's like, if you're not a mom and you're thinking about like in the future when you have your baby and you're like, oh my god, I'm so scared about delivering, I can't do that, like, oh, like, you know, trust me, I've been there with all those thoughts. Like, trust me, like, you can do it, you got it. It's really nothing to overwork yourself about, because I did that my whole pregnancy, and I'm just glad that I had such a good experience that now for my next pregnancies I won't be like that. So yeah, so I hope this video kind of like helps you guys. I want to tell you guys how everything felt after, but I'm going to save that for the next video, because I know this video is probably already getting really long. I tried to do it as quick as I could, but I know that it's probably getting long, so I'm going to save everything postpartum, everything from that last stitch after for the next video. Like I said, I'm going to put a Q&A on Instagram. Leave some questions in the comments, anything you want me to answer, and I will get to them. And yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done.